Hello everyone, hope you're all having a fantastic day. This is JL Aviation here, back after a bit of a minute. I know it's been a while, but here I am with another Gemini Jets unboxing now. It's been quite a minute since I've been able to get my hands on some new models. I have some that I've had for a while that I haven't gotten a chance to make a video on yet, but yeah, as I had in the description of my last video of the Samaritan Spurs DC-8 last tour, I've been having a really busy few months and I haven't been able to get to editing videos as frequently as I had over the summer or the few months before that. I do have quite a few new trip reports that I want to get to soon, but before that I did want to make an unboxing video of some models highlighting this aircraft type that I haven't really delved into much in my collection before. These are the first two that I have of the Airbus A220 series, formerly known as the Bombardier C series. Over to my left here I've got the Breeze Airways Airbus A220, followed by the Air Canada Trans-Canada Airlines Retro Heritage livery, both part of the 300 series. Now I do have a Delta A220-100 in my collection. Of course it's the smaller variant, but the 300 is more commonly seen in the skies right now. Now the Breeze one I have flown on before, if you can see on my YouTube channel. Have a trip report on it from a couple of years ago. Pretty beautiful cabin, I would say. Super modern, super sleek. And I would say it looks just like that outside too, so we'll see what these models look like. I'll start off with the Breeze one. It's one of my favorite liveries out of the new US Airlines. So here is the box. Of course, you got your classic Gemini Jets box for both of these. 1/400 scale die-cast A220. Here's the item number and everything. Here in the back, you can see the In the Sky. This is a 2022 release. Now I had to get this from a resale because it's been out of stock for a while. Hopefully they release one soon. I know Breeze does have like a newer sort of livery where the text is all white, kind of just an updated design, I would say, not that different of a livery. But I do like this one more as it kind of highlights the EZ, which is kind of like just a play on words, kind of highlighting how the airline wants to be seen in the market. But yeah, just gonna open up the flap real quick. Here is a brief history on the A220. I assume that the other one might have the same thing, but I'll show it. And then on this specific airframe, here it is. And let's open it up. Here it is, the Breeze A220. And it looks super beautiful. Love the color. Just that light blue. It's got to be one of my favorite colors, if not just my most favorite to see, especially on aircraft like this. Here is the Breeze under. I'll get into more detail, but first I'm going to open up the box of the Air Canada so we can look at them both side by side. And here is the Air Canada Trans-Canada Airlines TCA right there to the back. Of course it has the Air Canada official titles down here, so you can see that it's like a retro. Now this aircraft had been stored for a while due to some engine issues that were being resolved with the type, but thankfully now it's been flying again as of recently. I think mostly domestic flights in Canada, but I think it does do some international, mainly to the US. Bit of a tear in the box here, but it's alright. 2021 release, so yeah, before the Breeze one. This one I assume was probably made in Canada. The Breeze one, I know they have a lot of aircraft made in the US. I don't know if their earlier aircraft were all made in Canada. I know some were, but and yeah, another very cool color scheme. You know, I like the gray. Of course, it's for the retro airline, but that red stripe, especially that logo over there, looks quite fantastic. This one does have a Wi-Fi box, as you can see. But yeah, I'll take a closer look at these two. Alright, so here first off, I'm going to take a closer look at the Breeze A220. Starting off here, of course, you have the cockpit, door, then the titles. Like I said, these are kind of the first generation of Breeze A220s that had the blue and white combo text on them. Here are the engines with the darker blue, kind of differentiating from the lighter blue fuselage. The wings, and then the winglet with their pretty recognizable checkmark logo. Another difference that you see in their newer planes, the checkmark logo, you also see it in the inside of the winglet. On this one, as you can see, it's not on the inside, only on the outside, but on the newer ones you can see it from inside the plane, which is pretty cool. Then further back, of course, you have the one emergency exit door. Then it's flybreeze.com, promoting their website. And then there is the registration, which is November 203 Bravo Zulu, next to the big checkmark logo in the tail. Kind of a cool design. It's not just in the tail itself, but just goes across the fuselage next to the back door and everything. This is one of the aircraft too that also doesn't have the Wi-Fi box, and I know some of their newer aircraft do too. So maybe we'll see a new release of a Breeze A220 soon with the all newer updates. Then I did show a bit earlier, but here is the Breeze text on the bottom of the aircraft. Super nice, super sleek. I know Delta does that with some of their aircraft too. There's a couple airlines that do that as well, which I think is a pretty neat detail, especially if you see them flying over, whether you're like driving or especially if you're plane spotting, I would assume. Yeah, there you can see the other side. Not much different from here, just same as the other side, but yeah, just a bit reversed. And there is, again, the checkmark logo on the winglet. Looks pretty neat. Now let's take a closer look at that Air Canada model. And here is the Air Canada retro aircraft. Here up in the front, you can see where the red line that goes across the aircraft starts with that logo with the TCA and the maple leaf, of course, signature for Air Canada, as this was kind of an old brand that became sort of after sort of mergers and acquisitions what Air Canada is today. And a lot of old airline liveries used to have that stripe running down the cabin, so it's cool to see at least this retro livery still paying tribute to that. Here is the Trans-Canada Airlines titles, of course, with the Air Canada on the bottom. Kind of like how American does their retros, where they have the tail with the retro airline livery, and then they have American up there, just so you can tell that it's still the main airline operating them. Then here is the engines, wings, no decoration in the winglets. I think it would look cool with that logo, but maybe if it ever gets redone, we'll see something like that. Then the engines, same type as the Breeze aircraft. Now I'm going to show, I didn't show it earlier, but most of the same information. But here is specifically about the tail number. And that's the same Pratt & Whitney engines that are found on the Breeze aircraft. So you can see moving further back, it does have the Wi-Fi box, which was not on the Breeze one. And then, of course, you have the Airbus A220 titles, and then the registration, which is Charlie Golf November Bravo November. Then the back door, and then the full-scale TCA logo in the tail, looking pretty cool in here. And then the other side, pretty much the same thing, but yeah, looks super sleek. Really like the gray color. Goes super well with the red text as well across the aircraft. I think it looks awesome. Then let's see under if there's any decorations. Nothing really, but of course, like with most Gemini jets, you have the small Gemini Jets logo there near where you can put the stand if you have one. I know I have a couple, but I usually have the same models in them. But yeah, looking forward to display these. I'll probably put them close to each other. I think it'll look good together. Most of the models I have on display right now are usually older aircraft or retro, maybe even airlines that aren't around anymore, but I'd like to group these up there. Now I don't have my terminal, of course. I'll hopefully have it back up within the next couple of years. But I think especially this Breeze one would look really good on a terminal along with some of the other newer aircraft that I have, such as the Velo 737 or the Southwest Canyon Blue that I got recently. But yeah, all in all, two amazing liveries, especially with Breeze. Always loved that EZ checkmark on the logo. I think it looks awesome. Really hope to see more A220 models get released. These look pretty sleek. I think it's one of the better molds I've seen from Gemini jets recently. But anyways, this has been all for me today. Been wanting to get another model review out, so hope y'all enjoyed it and let me know what you think. If you also really like these A220s, if it's one of your favorite aircraft, I know a couple people who really love this aircraft, and for good reason, you know, very modern cabin, very sleek, very fuel efficient. There's a lot of things to love about them. Whether you prefer the Bombardier C series name or the Airbus A220. And if you've flown on either of these specific tail numbers aircraft, especially the Air Canada Retro, never flown Air Canada, but hopefully maybe one day I'll get on an aircraft like this, or at least one of their other A220s. For Breeze, I've flown them before. Hopefully I can fly them again. Sometimes I had a good experience with their in-flight product. You can check that out on my channel as well. I'll link it in the description. And as I said earlier, stay tuned for more trip reports on new airlines coming soon. I'm still finishing up editing some of the European airlines that I was reviewing over the summer, and I've got some pretty cool ones coming up. And stay tuned, as I'll also try to get another unboxing out pretty soon. And I want to thank you all once again for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram as well, where I sometimes post photos of my collection, models, and also you can follow me whenever I report on flights live as they happen. This is JL Aviation signing off for the day. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day wherever you're watching from.